I have a recommendation for you
Yay.
specifically because you said if you're coming on and doing spooky season, you have to recommend some kind of vampire books. And I immediately said, oh crap, because I have read like so few of them. I don't know why. And the ones I've read, I feel like you've recommended to me. So I'm not going to recommend something that I know that you have read. So I put on my thinking cap, which is always a scary prospect. And I thought back, and I remember several years ago, when I was working in an office setting, I had a coworker who was a great reader. She would read anything, mostly mystery, suspense, thriller, horror, sci-fi, and occasionally she would hand me a book and she'd be like, "You got to read this." And she's one of those few people like that. You're like, okay, if she tells me I got to read this, I got to read this. And so the book was called Vampires of Hollywood. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it was by Adrienne Barbeau, the actress,
Hmm.
and she co-wrote it with, let's see, can I find his name? I wrote it down. Michael Scott, who was a New York Times bestselling author. I believe this book came out initially in 2008, and there's actually a couple sequels, Love Bites and Make Me Dead. Um, but anyway, it's really a satire of Tinseltown and the whole film industry, because we all know that Hollywood is full of bloodsuckers, right? But basically, the premise is this. So there's a serial killer known as the Cinema Slayer, of course, and he's working his or way through the Hollywood A-listers. There's 3 murders in 2 weeks, and everybody's running scared because they think they're going to be next. All the victims share some kind of connection to Scream Queen Afsana Moore, who is not only the head of a Hollywood studio, but sort of secretly, she's also a 500-year-old vampire, though not everybody knows this about her. And she ends up getting teamed up with a Beverly Hills police detective. His name is Peter King. They really want to stop the killer. He just wants to stop the bloodshed, and she's worried that all her actors and writers are being killed off. They can't make movies and they can't make money with the serial killer running around on the loose. So, despite their differences, there is some common ground in wanting to put an end to this. But what the detective does not know is that most of the Hollywood talent, they're actually members of an established network of vampires, and Osana is actually the CEO of that whole network of vampires. So, it's horror, it's humor, hotness, like there's some erotic elements to it, but it's really just a funny satire of Hollywood with vampires and bloodsuckers running around. So I think you would really enjoy it. And Adrienne Barbeau, I mean, she knows that world so well. She's done those types of movies. So it zings with authenticity. And I think if you haven't read it, you will. I mean, I remember I read it and then I went out and bought my own copy because I liked it so much.
Nice. That sounds really good. I have not read it. I never heard of it. Thank you, John.
You're welcome. Well, hopefully you like it.
Well, that was impressive right there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That took some research, I can tell.
It did. I was like, man, scratching my head. And then I had a thought, which again occasionally happens. Not too often.
Oh, John, it's always so nice to have you on. The only